In this video, we are talking all about the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. We're going to go over the history of it, and we're going to go through some of the hardware and compare these two consoles in 2023. Let's have some fun and get straight into it. Starting off with the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, we need to talk about some history between these two consoles. So in 2005, the Xbox 360 came out, and 1 year later, the PlayStation 3 came out. Now in this time, the PlayStation 2 was one of the biggest consoles ever to be released. What made the Xbox 360 special was that it came out in 2005, 1 year earlier than the PlayStation 3. It offered a lower price tag, online functionality, and a brand new UI. So with the PlayStation 3 being released 1 year later, they're already trying to catch up to the Xbox 360. PlayStation 3's main focus was with Blu-ray and the hardware. The PlayStation 3 was released at $499 for the base model and then $599 for the 60GB model, whereas the Xbox 360 was released at $400 for the base model. So it was more affordable to get the Xbox 360 than it was for the PS3. Now with that, also, because of the hardware, Sony was actually losing money in the long run because the hardware was priced so high to get all the different parts for the PlayStation 3. There was a lot more going on for the Xbox 360 at first than there was for the PlayStation 3. People were going more towards the Xbox 360 as the console for this generation, but it wasn't until like 2013 when the roles started to change and shift. Now there were amazing accessories coming out for the Xbox 360. PlayStation 3 was releasing more exclusives over time. So what happened was the shift of the players went over to the PlayStation 3, which is actually quite interesting. And this was because Xbox 360 was more focused on the online functionalities and the accessories like the Kinect and stuff like that, and the players did not want that sort of focus. After Halo 3 sort of released, they were kind of like, there's no more to be done with this console in terms of that. Let's focus more on the Kinect and the online functionality of that. Whereas the PlayStation 3 just kept improving the console, it kept releasing brand new consoles. And because they were releasing more exclusives, they got more fan base moving back over to the PlayStation 3. So overall, it was a hard start for the PlayStation 3, while the Xbox 360 had the best start you could ever wish for. PlayStation 3 finally took over as one of the best consoles in the generation about 10 years after its original release. There was also some major things that happened during this time. The PlayStation 3 in 2011, there was a major hacking occurrence. So basically the PlayStation Online store got hacked. They basically gave out free games, and that was their apology for the whole occurrence. They got a major lawsuit and almost went under because of this major lawsuit. So that was a major thing that happened during this time. With the Xbox 360, the major thing that happened was the red ring of death. So basically, your console would have the red ring that would come. That means that the hardware, the Xbox 360, was definitely struggling over many years of time. With the Slim, it's definitely an improvement on the design of the Xbox 360, but it also helped improve a lot of the hardware, so it stopped the red ring of death. So overall, we got a lot more accessories as well with the Xbox 360 than we did with the PlayStation 3. So they actually came out with the Slim and the Super Slim for about $200 less than the base model. We lost a lot of hardware because of it, whereas the Xbox 360 focused more on like accessories, external DVD drives, new controllers, while the PlayStation 3 did not focus on more external accessories. They just felt like they had everything all inside the box that you needed already, especially with the Blu-ray player. So some exclusives that would come with the Xbox 360 would be games such as Gears of War, there was Halo. For me, Skyrim was the biggest game I ever played on the Xbox 360. For the PlayStation 3, there was games such as Gran Turismo, that was probably the biggest racing game. There was also God of War, and games such as The Last of Us that came out just before the PlayStation 4 was released. Because of The Last of Us, it became one of the best consoles overall because The Last of Us is absolutely amazing. There's so many more. That's why I think the PlayStation 3 was notable, because over the years they sort of improved their console by releasing amazing games over time. There's also other things that came out during this period. So we all know that Final Fantasy VII was a PlayStation only game. Even the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole is a PlayStation only thing. But in this generation, Final Fantasy VII was actually released on the Xbox 360, so that is something that is notable about this generation. And now let's talk about the differences between the two controllers. So people actually preferred the Xbox 360 controller more than the PlayStation 3 controller. So with the Xbox 360 controller, we had a wireless device with battery packs included. It also came later with a play and charge kit. It also had wireless connectivity, it had rumble, joysticks were in the same place. The design of it is very similar to what we have today. Basically with the joysticks being here, the feeling of the controller is slim, but also kind of oily. Because of the material, it kind of feels a bit oily in a way, and we've got a bit of rust happening with the X right there. But overall, this controller was very simple and very awesome because the wireless capabilities and had the simplistic elements to it. Whereas the PlayStation controller was very small. That was the biggest issue. Because of these parts of the controller, you couldn't really get your hand all over this. Like, it's really quite a small controller, quite flimsy, lightweight. That was the biggest thing. And these two joysticks were very close together, so that was the biggest thing. This thing also did come with wireless connectivity, whereas this one has the USB Type-C connection, and we have the PlayStation button. The DualShock controller for the PlayStation 4, but Sony really kept it very similar to the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 with these controllers. Whereas this one is more of an update from the Xbox original console, and then they kept improving the console's controllers over time. 360 controller came with better battery life because of the battery pack included and the play and charge kit, while this one had a motion control sensor. So that was the start of the motion sensors. And speaking about motion sensors, we also had the accessories of the Xbox Kinect, which was a major thing with the Xbox 360. It's kind of like the Nintendo Wii. It would basically have a motion sensor, so when you do movements, it would sense you. So it had a lot of party games. While the PlayStation 3 had its own version of that sort of thing, the Xbox 360 definitely had more games and more variety when it came to the Xbox Kinect. That was its real focus. And also with the UI menus, so the Xbox 360 had this green background and it started with the animations, had a more simplistic sort of UI menu, whereas the PlayStation 3 had a more advanced sort of style of the UI menu, a lot more options for settings, and it also has this remote play feature, which is definitely something that we have today as a massive thing. With the Xbox 360, we had more of the online marketplace sort of stuff, had Xbox Gold, which is something that still exists today, while the PlayStation 3 started the remote play features. It also featured the PlayStation Store and PlayStation Plus, which still exists today. So this was the first generation that really involved the online marketplace options and the online multiplayer options as well. Me personally, I had the Xbox 360 in this generation, while the PlayStation 3 was not a console that I owned. It's very similar to today. You know, PlayStation 3 has the more powerful hardware, while the Xbox 360 had more online functionality. There was a lot to go back and forth about, but for me, it was the Xbox 360. Let me know what console you guys got in this generation and which one you prefer. Let me know your thoughts and feelings. I'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching.